Onigashima. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Jimmy, and we got chapter 1135, Camaraderie Cups. And we got, honestly, one of my favorite cover or parts of this cover story that we've had in a while. We got Otama kicking Hold'em in the face. Fuck the power scaling.
He deserved it, dude. Yeah, honestly,
Oh,
I saw so many people on like Twitter hating on this, being like, "Oh my god, like this doesn't make sense. Like, why would Tama be this strong? It took Gear 3 Luffy to beat him or something." And I'm like, bro,
it did not take Gear 3 Luffy to beat it. Just because he used it doesn't mean that's what it took.
Even
Hold'em was not shown to be strong at all.
Even then, that just goes to show that Oda does not care about power scaling that much. So
yeah,
let's get right into the chapter. We got a lot of like little drops this chapter. It starts right off kind of explaining the whole book thing, the book's getting big in the last chapter in this library, and it's because of Bibelot, the library owl. Some people are talking about this owl. I saw something where it was like you can look at his eyes and he kind of has like the ring eyes like Emu and
yeah, he looks high as fuck here.
I was not talking.
But yeah, no, his eyes, like, I don't know, I feel like it's not too much to look into the eyes. People have done this before with a lot of things.
It is, yeah.
So I don't know what to make of that. I did like the explanation for the books with the devil fruit power. And like the thing that Vegapunk said, where it was like, hey, look, it's this fruit. It makes it. Oh, she's like, oh, it can even make inorganic things grow. So that means it was originally used to make real life things grow. And one of the things I started thinking about from last chapter is that I think that explains the giant straw hat in Emu's like lair, right?
That's true.
Like,
yeah.
Maybe somebody back in the day they made it grow to this size, and that's how they were able to like wear the straw hat, or vice versa. They made the straw hat grow in some way.
It's an interesting like parallel to the ripe fruit, right? That makes things like literally older, and this is like makes them bigger, or like we've got powers that like age. We got powers that make things grow, make things grow up. I feel like. Or grow down, like with Bonnie's fruit. We got like a lot of different time manipulation fruits now, so it's interesting. I wonder if there's going to be like, because of these kinds of fruits and like who had them in the past or whatever. I mean, Bibelot seems like he's had it for a while. He's an old ass owl, but...
He seems old as shit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, at least like a few decades, right? Like, I don't know how long owls are supposed to live, but I guess giant owls live longer.
I would think so. I mean, they said that he was pretty old. I mean, we'll see what happens with all that. I just think that there's like a lot of little pieces that were being explained to right now that like could be, every time I see a Paramecia fruit especially, or like a Paramecia fruit that does a specific thing, like Toki's jumping into the future, or
it's like, oh, there has to be a purpose for this later on in the story.
Yeah, like even like Bon Clay, like, if you look back on all the way in Alabasta, I mean, it was important for that arc at the very least, but it ended up being even more important down the line. And Oda does that with a lot of these like really weird fruits, that
weird and specific fruits also.
Yeah. I mean, I would say besides Dressrosa, I guess, because there's a lot of weird Paramecia fruits there that didn't necessarily do anything that significant. Yeah. But
I mean, the other thing about this fruit, though, going into the next part of the chapter, we see that Colin, after attacking Luffy, we find out that he's apparently a half human, and just the logistics of that, of a giant with a human, doesn't really make sense, unless the rear fruit was used on them and the human was like grown bigger, right? I feel like that's must
a good
have
connection.
happened.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, honestly, like that's the out, right? Because people are going crazy with fan art and shit with this. Of like, so a lot of people are saying, are speculating like who the father is. Immediately Scopper Gaban
is everyone's spot, crazy, right?
I feel like Scopper Gaban is like for everything nowadays, but it's there, you know what I mean? Like, we saw him potentially with Crocus. It makes sense that he would be like the third of the Roger Pirates that we see, because we got Crocus on the beginning of the Grand Line, then we got Rayleigh in the middle, and then
I think the only thing that I saw pointed out that I think makes a lot of sense is it really depends how old her name Ripley is, because if she's as old as Harudin, then she's only like 80 something years old, and she said that, oh, my husband, or I guess not husband because they never got married, is way younger than me. Where if it's Scopper Gaban, he'd be like 70 something right now, so that wouldn't be, I would say, way younger.
10 years.
It's vague, but
in our world, 10 years is a lot of years to be.
In giants, though, they live up to 408 apparently, like we see later. But we'll get to that.
And she knows, like she's like, oh, this is a lot. I don't know. Maybe. Well, we'll see what happens. A lot of people are pointing also to the silhouetted guy, from a few chapters ago that we saw,
which we also said could be Scopper Gabon. Right. So you know.
But there's definitely like this mystery figure being set up. I saw people as far as to say that Colin's introduction here being so similar to Luffy might be foreshadowing Luffy's parents potentially being an alternate race, now that we know that it's possible for like a human and a giant to get together.
Or is Colin Luffy's stepbrother and Dragon impregnated ripely?
Yo. Well,
I don't know where it can go, honestly. I feel like there's a lot of theories you can have, and we don't have like a lot of conclusive evidence right now. And like, I don't know, it might not be anybody that we know either. It might just be some other random human too. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody important.
True that. I want to skip a little bit further down the chapter where we're talked about more about this tree. Frankie says like, oh, this is an Adam tree. We hear that there's like multiple Adam trees, which I think we all kind of thought that there was like one Adam tree and like one Eve tree, and they were like connected somehow, and maybe this was like the spawn of all devil fruits. I don't know. So I've heard people say that about these certain trees, but this is like the biggest, best treasure tree Adam or whatever. So Frankie could have gotten it from somewhere else that's not Elbaf. But
yeah, maybe... but I like that they're actually making the connection, and the fact that Frankie's like, oh yeah, this is what the Sunny's made of. I feel like they're gonna get upgrades to their ship because of
that would be good that he said that this is just one of many Adam trees, and if this is the biggest, best one, then it's like, okay, the Sunny can go from having a regular Adam tree, which is already like crazy strong, to like treasure tree Adam specifically. You know what I mean? So yeah, maybe that's the upgrade that the Sunny needs, is like this special super Adam tree.
Maybe they get the ability to fly with all these clouds like they have here in Elbaf.
That'd be dope if they got like the rainbow installment.
Yeah.
And they could just like fly anywhere.
They get the plugins to fly.
Pretty dope. We get new
but
fits.
Speaking of dope, yeah, new outfits. I love seeing the rest of my favorite one out of all of these is Frankie's. I love his long beard and just the laugh he has while he's wearing it.
I think they're all good, man. I like Robin's.
I do think they're all good. I like Robin's too, but I think Frankie's is my favorite out of all of these.
Frankie's definitely super Viking. I would say Jinbei is pretty super Viking too. If I had to rank them, for me, it's like Robin, Frankie, Jinbei, Brooke, but you know. I
think I have it opposite with Frankie and Robin, but I agree with the rest of them.
True that. Moving down the chapter just a little bit, because that was, they peace out, they go back to the party, whatever, and we're setting up like the Straw Hats are gonna split up, and they are gonna go on their alternate adventures, and we're gonna explore this island more. Great. Speaking of exploring this island more, going back to the castle, we see this shrouded figure that, whoever this is, Ginny, whatever, has a specific fruit or something, seemingly a devil fruit, like the pain fruit or something, where this guy just starts being like, oh my god, I'm in pain, oh, it hurts, man. And she's asking where Loki is, so they're trying to locate Loki.
Which is kind of contradictory to what we were saying last time, because we assumed that, oh, maybe they might be working with Loki, or they knew about Loki. But if they don't know where he is, then this has nothing to do with the person that they talked to before, or that Loki talked to before on the snail. They're here for a completely different reason than for whatever that was. But yeah, going back to her devil fruit, I don't know if it's like some maybe like telekinesis thing. I don't know if it's similar to like Saturn's power when he was trying to blow people's heads off. But like, yeah, this guy's insides are just like dying, and like we can't even really tell what's happening.
It's gotta be a Paramecia, right? Like I feel like we've seen a couple Paramecia, or I guess just one Paramecia power. Like very mystical stuff is happening around here. So I would assume this is a Paramecia land in a general sense. I mean, here's one thing that I'm thinking about with all these like devil fruit reveals this chapter is like usually with each island there's like a specific kind of fruit, at least there was in part 2 in general, right? It starts with Punk Hazard, which is mostly Paramecia, showing off
I don't know. I feel like that was mostly a thing with Whole Cake and Wano, where it was just Paramecia with Big Mom, and then
Dressrosa is very Paramecia as well.
I mean, yeah, but you could just say that about everything because Paramecia is like the overall, like, oh, this is the. If it doesn't fit into the other two categories, we throw it in here.
Yeah.
So then at that point, like almost every arc is like a Paramecia arc too.
What I'm gonna, yeah, I guess so. But like this one isn't a zone arc. You know what I mean? Like we haven't seen zones this time. So I like we're being shown a lot of Paramecia. So I wonder with this like Fable aspect of this, if we're gonna like, you know, we'll continue to see more. Like Loki, we think he's gonna be a Paramecia too, like a shapeshifter or something, right? So I think that. You know.
Speaking of Loki, one thing I wanted to bring up is this giant actually, because he's huge even for a giant, mountain beard Jarul.
Oh yeah.
One oldest giant we've ever seen, so 408 years old, which is interesting because that means he was alive when Nolan was alive. He was alive 400 years ago.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's ever going to come into play at any point here.
He was an 8-year-old, right? Because wasn't Nolan 400 years ago?
It was 400 years, yeah, so he'd be an 8-year-old. Which means, like, we found out in Sky Islands, like, oh, there's another way to get to the Sky Islands besides the knock-up stream. And a lot of people predicted Elbaf. And seeing this giant tree, it would make sense. Like, oh, yeah, this tree could probably climb to get up there.
Yeah.
I wonder if they set up something 400 years ago with Jarul and Nolan to be able to do this.
So he would know, yeah. Really old guy.
Yeah, but the other thing I wanted to mention is this guy's beard really reminds me of the snail we saw from Loki last chapter. Like, was this not the exact same beard we saw on the snail when he was talking to him?
This could be the guy. I mean, it's an interesting. We saw this guy during Big Mom's flashback, didn't we?
I don't fully remember. I'd have to go check on that. But either way, it looks like he's in cahoots with Loki if he is.
Yeah, that's true. I like the fact that it's 408 years ago, because then maybe we can get a parallel to like maybe this guy was at Nolan's execution, similar to like how Roger was executed, and maybe we can get some more exposition out of Nolan that inspired Jarul to, you know, something.
To get a sword and stuck in his head. I like how Luffy acknowledges, like, dude, you got a sword in you. He's like, no, don't worry, the helmet's got me, and it's just going straight through. I thought it was a hilarious way to end the chapter. But
sure. We'll learn more about them, I'm sure.
I don't know if they're gonna actually do anything with that. Maybe it's like a sword stuck in the stone, but instead of the stone, it's the sword stuck in the skull type of vibe, and only the chosen one can pull it out.
Because like, if he is in the Big Mom flashback, at least, like, I gotta go back and check. I feel like this is a guy we saw, and if he got this sword recently, like, obviously this is like a very recent plot development. We're setting up a lot here in this chapter. There's a lot of, you know, new fits, new lore drops, new characters. It's a lot of setup. So we'll see where it goes from here. Let us know what your theories are in the comments, because I think we're just kind of randomly speculating here. They've started this party, right?
Hell yeah, we usually end arcs with the party. Now we're starting an arc with the party.
Pretty dope. Yeah, like everybody, we see like old giants too that, like, I didn't even remember this guy from Sabori, bro.
I vaguely remembered him. No idea what his name was back then. I honestly still forgot what his name is, even though reading it.
This chapter, dude.
It was cool bringing it all back together.
Yeah.
So
I had a lot
overall,
of fun with
very good chapter. But yeah, mostly a setup chapter. We got to see where it's gonna go. This is the last chapter of the year too, so pretty good way to end it. Leading us with a lot of questions.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be last week was the last chapter, but I guess we got that little leak. So thanks to the French, I guess.
Yeah, they got us with this one.
They got us, bro.
But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and fight us in the comments. I haven't said that one in a while.
Yeah, fight us in the comments. Hey, we're coming out with our top 30 or maybe top 32. We'll see how it pans out of 2024. We're gonna include some characters that we didn't include last time, so watch out for that. There's gonna be a whole new format. It's gonna be fun, and you're gonna see what our thoughts are and who's the strongest right now, because I feel like a lot of characters got added and the game has changed. So watch out for more videos, y'all.
Yeah, peace out.
Peace.